So let's begin with that story this morning. Paul O'Grady has died. He died last night, passing away peacefully at home. In a statement, his partner, Andre Potassiou, said, "It is with great sadness that I inform you that Paul has passed away unexpectedly, but peacefully."
Well, during his career, the entertainer was known, of course, for his drag persona, Lily Savage, as well as hosting The Paul O'Grady Show, Blind Date and Blankety Blank, for which he won numerous accolades, including a TV BAFTA and a National Television Award.
He was also a long-time advocate for animals, hosting ITV's multi-award-winning series For the Love of Dogs and acting as an ambassador for Battersea Dogs and Cats Home. To help remember Paul, we're joined now by showbiz journalist and fellow Liverpudlian, Ellie Phillips. It's a very shocking and sad day, Ellie.
It's really sad news to be waking up to, and I'm sure that it's not just people from Liverpool, but all over the country and around the world are going to be saddened by this. Paul was an icon, a trailblazer, someone who, as people from Merseyside, we were so proud to have as one of our own. His humour and his fearlessness was something that I think resonates throughout the city and throughout Scousers in general. He was fun, friendly, fabulous, but most of all fearless, because I think you have to remember in the 70s when he started doing drag and went on and built that career, there was no room for him anywhere. I remember him telling me previously how, you know, he couldn't get a slot on Richard and Judy, and that spurred him on to want to do more and to break down these walls and break down these barriers, and he did. And boy, did he, you know, to go on to achieve what he achieved is just incredible. It's a huge, huge loss for everyone. Such a character, and you know, just he was supposed to be doing a new radio show in less than 2 weeks. There was no indication that, you know, this was coming. Previously, he'd had 3 heart attacks and he struggled with kidney problems, but as far as we knew, he was, you know, healthy and loving life, and so it's a real shock. We were not expecting this news at all.
There were so many different reincarnations of him, whether it was Lily Savage, whether it was the animal advocate as well. And you talk about Richard and Judy. I remember 30-odd years ago waking up on a morning and switching on the telly to see Lily Savage sitting on Richard and Judy saying, "And as for that Eamonn Holmes, he should be sacked. He's ridiculous. Whoever give him a job?" And this was me hosting the National Television Awards. So he had a pithy tongue. I mean, he was sharp, especially as Lily.
Oh, yeah. I think the thing with Paul and with Lily is that the attitude of just it was carefree attitude. Say what you think, say it how it is, and, you know, deal with the consequences later. You know, that was how he said it. And I'd often interview him and he'd say things and he'd go afterwards, "Oh, but don't write that, though." You know, he'd say things and be like, "Oh, but don't tell anyone I said that. But I don't mind if you, but it didn't come from me." You know?
But there was a realness about him. You know, he was always a delight to meet. And as you say, the best conversations with him were off camera.
Yes.
He was a real person, and he was able to tap into that on behalf of the viewers and listeners, wasn't he?
I think what he did was he was really real, really candid, really raw, but so personable at the same time. And so I think hearing him tell his stories and just talk about life in general, he made you feel like it didn't matter who you were or where you came from. As long as you were fun and you were nice, he'd chat to you, he'd give you a chance, and that was his attitude throughout everything.
Yeah, he did that across the board, and obviously, you know, being in Britain and being a friend to dogs made him very popular with the public as well. We're a nation of animal lovers. But he was also mixing with royalty, and his most recent appearance on the TV was with the Queen Consort.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's everyone, you can't help but love him, and he can adapt to, you know, being with different people, but never lose that sense of humour throughout it. And you could imagine, you know, when he's with the Queen Consort, he will have said a few cheeky quips on the sly, you know, that's just the way he was.
And she'd have laughed as well, you just know.
Exactly, and I think that's what we love about him so much. And I think it's hard to think of other people who are such an all-round entertainer. And I think we say, oh, he's a presenter, you know, he can sing, he can act, he can perform, he can try, he can do it all.
Yeah.
And that is very unique to think of nowadays. He's one of those true originals. From being from Liverpool when we grew up, obviously the Beatles were huge, but for us as well, it was all about, you know, Paul O'Grady, Cilla Black, you know, some of the real greats and titans of entertainment, and so it's just such a loss that we...
And funny you should say that, but, I mean, today we mourn his loss, but we also mourn the loss of a true national treasure.
Absolutely. He is someone who, like I said earlier, he's a trailblazer. He broke down barriers. He made being unique and being different something to aspire towards for the first time, I think. Unafraid to do anything, unashamedly who he was. And I think when he had those knocks down on the nose, that made him persevere even more and pushed him onto this national stage. And I remember speaking to someone a few weeks ago saying, oh, do you know who I think should have hosted Eurovision? Paul O'Grady, you know, LGBT, you know, a huge entertainer, can do all these things. I remember thinking, why haven't they got him? And thought, he'll be the one that pops up and says, you know, from the UK, these are the results, because everyone loves him and he is recognised on such a huge scale that it definitely would have been the gig for him.
Well, nobody like him, that's for sure. Absolutely irreplaceable, and as Eamonn says, a national treasure. So if at home you're waking up to this news, do send in your tributes, your thoughts, your memories. Ellie, thank you very much. I think we'll be speaking to you throughout the course of the morning.